Welcome to the Time to Thrive podcast, developed and sponsored by the Thrive Ladies Ministry of Central Baptist Church in Kannapolis, North Carolina. Come with us as we dive deep into the life stories and experiences of Christian women. Meet amazing women writers from our very own Central Baptist Church magazine, Come and See. Join us as Aleah and Anna discover how God has moved in the lives of these women and how circumstances permanently changed their lives. Whether you're driving, working, or relaxing, we're glad you joined us today. And now, it's time to thrive.
Hello, Thrive Ladies. It's Aleah and Anna, ready to help you start your week off right with the Time to Thrive podcast.
So today we have Miss Holly Jenkins here with us, and we just want to say thank you to everyone who is listening and hope you have a great new year. You're probably listening to this in January. So first off, we're going to ask Miss Holly to briefly introduce a little bit about yourself. So,
hi guys. So as they said, my name's Holly. I am a wife and a mother. I have 3 daughters, Avery, Ansley, and Aubrey. I am a nurse and I work in the telestroke department with Atrium Health. I've been a nurse for 19 years now, going on 20. Been around a long time. A lot of bedside ICU experience before this, but it's been a good time. So other than that, I just try to balance my work-life schedule with my kids and my work. I work third shift, so I do a lot of overnight work. So,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, back in 2017, you wrote an article titled Calling to Serve. And in that article, you quoted, as you look back at things that have happened in your life, it's then when you see how God has purposed and orchestrated it all to bring you to where you are now.
So now that we have a little bit about yourself, Miss Holly, and you've told us, your job and all the different things about yourself, we want to ask you about 5 different questions. So the first one, why do you think God has laid this message on your heart to share, the message of, calling to serve that you had written for Central Baptist?
Well, I think that God instills in us a certain passion for where He wants to take us in life. I feel like He gives us the desires of our hearts and places us in certain areas that we can serve Him. And I feel like when you are determined or you feel like you are called into a certain area, that He will give you those skills and those special, unique qualities that will help you in your job and will help you face your everyday life, your careers, and He helps you do it with grace and mercy. And when other people look at your job and say, "Oh, I don't think I could do that," well, God gave you that gift to do it, and He may give someone else another gift.
I totally 100% agree with that. Alrighty. You talked about your girls in your article. How has this shaped your heart as a mother, this experience?
I think losing my mother at such a young age, it's given me kind of an eye-opening experience. When I started having my children, I cherished it a lot more. The time that I missed out with my mother, she died when I was 9, so I didn't get any of the teenage years, any of the, getting married, nothing like that with her. So I feel like I look at it a different way with my girls. I cherish it more, and I try to make more lasting memories. I take a lot of pictures because I didn't,
Me too.
losing your mom at a young age,
Yeah.
you don't have a lot of memories, and so all I have left are pictures. So I try to do a lot of pictures, a lot of memories. We go places, we do a lot of trips, just so they'll have those experiences and those memories to look back on and, so look forward to that.
Yeah, I just saw your girl play softball at the beach, and they
Yes.
just won, didn't they?
Yes, they had a great time.
Yes,
Oh, that's
I did see
awesome.
that, all those pictures.
So we're going to ask another question, and this is probably, I love this question. I'm excited to ask you this one. So would you say that perseverance had a big role to play in your life? Because I know that you talked about, you moved out at, was it 18?
Yes.
And you went into pursuing, your nursing career. And I'm sure anything like that, that's difficult. It takes a lot of perseverance and a special personality to be able to go through those things. So do you think perseverance had a big impact? in your life?
I do. If anyone out there is a nurse and they've been through nursing school, they know that that's one of the toughest things, you'll ever do. But when I grew up, we didn't have a lot. Like, we weren't poor, but we were not financially, blessed. So we had to, make ends meet. And I, at that point, I always said I wanted to do something better. I wanted to do something in a career where I felt called, number one, and I felt like I would make a difference and I would have some financial stability for my family. So yes, when I was 18, my home life wasn't that great. So I ventured out on my own, got a full-time job, got my own apartment, and started working. I put myself through evening classes to get through nursing school at Rowan Cabarrus Community College. Went through their nursing program, ended up going full-time and working evenings when I started the nursing program. And that was like the longest 2 years of my life. Like, it was so hard. Very long nights of studying, praying, trying to think up ways to remember things for these tests because they're brutal. They're brutal.
Yeah.
So I feel like, if I felt, God's calling was to be a nurse, and I knew if I didn't give up and I persevered and I went through, and, he would bring me out. And I'm tell you what, that graduation, that nursing graduation service, I was so excited. I was so excited. So yes.
That was Anna's favorite question,
Yeah,
but I think this one is my favorite question. When did you realize you wanted to be a nurse and help other people?
I believe it was actually at a young age. Losing my mom at 9, I did kind of like, at that point, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. You're still a kid. You don't realize it. And then when you go through high school and you try to say, okay, Lord, where do you want to lead me? Where do you want me to be? And at 13, maybe 14, I lost my grandpa. And he was actually in the ICU, and we actually went up to visit him. And I saw the nurses there, and I saw what they did. I saw how they took care of these sick patients, and they amazed me. Like, I was just blown away, and I thought, I would like maybe to do that one day. So I felt like, when I graduated, high school, I still did not know where I was going. I always thought maybe I'd be a music teacher because I love to sing and I love everything about music. I was in the band, but I thought, well, I didn't feel God calling me in that direction. So I prayed about it and felt like the Lord was leading me into the medical field and to be a nurse. So that's when I, started. Once I graduated, I figured I'm gonna do this, and I signed up for nursing school.
This one's probably one of my favorite questions, just because I know a lot of teenagers and just a lot of people in general really struggle with trying to find their purpose, if you want to call it. Like, especially in high school. Like, I know for me personally, I had so many people like asking me what I was going to do after high school and like what I was going to do. And I was like, I have no idea. Like, I am 18 years old. I have the rest of my life. And people are like, you need to go to college, have one career for the rest of your life. I'm like, that is scary. Like, what am I going to do for the rest of my life and love it for the rest of my life? So I think saying that you had experience in your life to make you want to do that really, really helps you.
And I also liked when you talked about all the different experiences that you had, like Aleah said, how there were good experiences, there were also bad experiences, and how all of that shaped to where you are now. So like, as we can see in our lives as teenagers, young women, and also the women listening, that all the different things that they've gone through, that it's so difficult. And I'm sure when you were in the middle of it, it was like, what in the world is happening? You know, there's no way it's being shaped into something. Right. But now you're living proof that it shapes you to your purpose, what God's wanting you to do.
And it's crazy once you get to an age where I'm 43 now, and I look back on different things in my life, and I could see how God was shaping me to be the person I am today, how he was bringing me through those trials and tribulations and growing me spiritually, and just helping me without me even knowing it. And it's amazing to see now how everything that he had planned for my life has played out, and I'm, where I'm supposed to be today.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the very last question, if you had to sum up what we have talked about in one sentence to encourage the women listening, what would that sentence be?
Don't give up. If you feel a calling in your life, go for it. With drive, perseverance, God's going to bring you through, and He's going to bring you to where you're supposed to be. If you are, having doubts, if you're scared, put your trust in Him, because He will guide you, He will direct you, and He will bring you out on the other end. And I was like, okay, God, let's do this. And so,
Yeah, that's so crazy that you said that, because I graduated 2021, so about a year ago, and I actually decided to take a year off too because I was struggling. Everyone just putting so much pressure on me, and so I actually started working at Food Lion full-time, almost full-time, 35 hours a week. Anyways, so I worked there for about a year, and I would say I'm a pretty good worker. So I moved up kind of fast, and it drained the joy out of me every time I walked in. I hated my life, and that hate is a strong word, but I did not like working there, or I didn't even want to come home. Like, I was so drained all the time. And for a long time, as a really young age, I always wanted to be a teacher. Like, I'm talking about my classroom. My room was decorated like a classroom. Like, for Christmas, I would want like a calendar set, and so my whole room was a classroom. And now I just started working here at the preschool, and I am so in love. I love my life right now. Like, it's so great working.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I definitely feel like I'm called to work with kids, no matter what it is. If it's really young, or if it's my own, or
and it's crazy how the joy is there when you find where you're supposed to be.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm kind of in that stage that I just graduated. And like Aleah said, having people, what are you doing? Where are you going? Are you going to college? Are you not going to go to college? Like, what profession are you getting? For me, I think a question that I want to ask you is, when you know that you're in a situation where God hasn't called you, like, what do you, like, is it just like you pray all the time, or you do Bible study all the time to find His will? Or is it just a thing that God's leading you through? And then at the end of the day, you see, oh, this is what God has called me to do.
I would say my main advice would be just wait. Wait on the Lord. Wait for His direction. Pray about it. Definitely get into the Word. But once I think He's ready to lead you in that direction, He will open doors, and He will, it's almost like a light bulb. Like, He will show you the definite way that you're supposed to go, and then He'll put that desire in your heart, and He will lead you in that direction.
Yeah, exactly. And having mentors also.
Yes.
Now, did you have a mentor when you were younger, or someone who poured into you when you were younger or older?
Not really. I mean, my grandparents, they were always, they were the ones that were like, let's go to church. Let's do this. Let's do that. Because when I was young, my parents separated, divorced, and we quit going to church. So my grandparents were like my big cheerleaders. They were like, let's do this. Let's get you in church. Let's get you involved. And so I think for me, maybe them, and they, helped me kind of in that weird, that's the weird stage of life. You're so young, you can't drive yourself to church or, go places. So you have to depend on family. But I think for me, it was my grandparents.
Got you.
And you had said something about waiting is her best advice. And that is probably one of the hardest things anyone can go through. Like, it's so funny too, because people, waiting is such a big thing for everyone that there's so many, articles out there or Bible studies about waiting. And I've had so many conversations about the waiting game, and you just have to sit there and wait on Him to show you what you're supposed to do, or show you the answer. And that is the hardest thing. Even with everything that's out there, I feel like that's still one of the hardest things
It is
to do.
And I like this, so y'all have me back sometime. And
I like it. It's really good.
Well, that's it for this episode, our very, very first episode. Happy New Year, everyone. And we would love to thank you, Holly, for coming in and spending your time to talk with us. I know you have a lot of things going on in your life. So,
And also, I want to thank all the listeners who have hopped on here and listened to me, Aleah, and Holly. So we just want to say thank you for your support and the support of Central Baptist and the Thrive Ladies Ministry that we're doing this through. So we can't wait to see y'all next time on the next episode of the Time to Thrive podcast. Bye!
Thank you for listening to Time to Thrive podcast. We hope you are encouraged and inspired to thrive in your daily walk with God. To find out more about the Thrive Ladies Ministry, check out our Instagram and Facebook pages or visit our website.